The heavens above us are divided into two factions. There is Western Paradise, led by the Buddha, and Eastern Paradise, led by the Jade Emperor. The West used the mudra, and the East cast spells using the 5 elements. Everything was glorious and perfect. However, something happened in Eastern Paradise that shook it to its very core.
Sun Wukong, a monkey born on a mountaintop, received a proposal from the East that he felt threatened his freedom and pride. He changed his name to Dashong and set about forming an army.
Eastern Paradise recruited many warriors in the hope of defeating Dashong and his army. At the end of 2 great battles, his army was defeated and Dashong was captured. Eastern Paradise sentenced him mercilessly, his punishment to be burnt to ash.
But Dashong did not give up so easily. In the fires of the Crucible, he headed southeast where the winds would shelter him. He hid from the flames, awaiting his chance for retaliation. 49 days had passed. When a guard came to check the furnace, he opened the lid, and Dashong leapt out. While sweltering in the flames, Dashong had acquired new powers, and with these powers he swore to exact his revenge.
When word of Dashong's escape reached as far as the heavens, Eastern Paradise once again gathered their army and went to face Dashong. It was time for the final confrontation. The great battle of the heavens had begun.
Dashong stood at the top of a mountain, staring out across the dense clouds, his eyes fixed on the Palace of Spirits, way above him in the sky.
The army of the Eastern Paradise were deployed to guard the 18 magical treasures. These treasures were there to fulfill a sacred purpose, to hold the net of the heavens open. They were also there to protect the skies.
Dashong had nowhere to run, and no one he could call on for support. But he remained unfazed. He would just have to defeat every last one of his enemies, single-handedly.
Unbeknownst to Dashong, Juling Shen was looking down on him. Armed with his 2 axes, the giant launched himself from an island, and, with a shout as loud as a thunderclap, went flying into the sky and somersaulted his way towards Dashong.
Dashong managed to block him with the staff he held in his one hand, and with his other hand, he landed a counter-strike.
Juling Shen was sent flying back through the air, and was so surprised that he dropped one of his axes.
Unaware of the giant's slip-up, Dashong leapt down from his mountain. Then leapt upwards, his eyes fixed on the heavens.
Just then, "Get ready!" And with that, a figure charged at Dashong from the front.
Dashong was stopped in his tracks. The figure in front of him was someone he knew.
"I am Najar!" And there he was, Prince Najar, the 3rd child of General Li. Although much more controlled in his older years, Najar was once the ultimate wild child. So fearful was he of Najar's power, General Li tried to get rid of his own son. Najar was furious, so he took the matter into his own hands. And so he abandoned his family. Once in Western Paradise, Prince Najar called upon Buddha to grant him a new life. His wish granted, Najar put wheels of fire on his feet and leapt through the sky. With many conquests to his name, including the slaying of 96 cave demons, eventually he came to hold an important position in the heavens alongside his brothers.
Dashong was not impressed by Najar's surprise appearance. This kid again.
Najjar was beside himself. Don't call me a kid! You're nothing but an outlaw! You'll pay for my humiliation at Mount Huaguo! Najjar twirled his fiery staff and planted his feet. This was the third time that the two of them had faced each other. In order to defeat Dashong, who had wronged the heavens, Najjar had infiltrated Mount Huaguo many times, but each time was defeated by the monkey.
Dashong wasn't in the mood. What the hell are you saying? He scratched his head. He was genuinely puzzled.
What? Are you telling me you've forgotten?
Was that just a game that you and I played?
Don't play dumb!
Who's playing dumb?
I have fought and defeated many dragons!
Oh yeah? I bet you're handsomely rewarded for doing that. Dashong spread his arms to show off his gold armor and staff to Najjar. This is all I've got.
Dashong's arrogance drove Najjar into a fury. He pointed the tip of his spear at his nemesis. Monkey brains! I'll defeat you now and have my revenge!
Is it good or bad things that happen in threes? Dashong shook his head and readied his staff.
You shall fight me, Najjar! Let's go! Slow! Not working! Just a dumb crook! Watch your... You'll need to do more than that. Gotcha! Shit! As if the stupid Simeon could ever beat me! My fiery lance wants to say hi! How dare you make a fool of me! I'm too much for you! I've got you! Idiot! Where do I go? Get out of here! Damn! Too slow! Come on me! Gotcha! Hey! I'm just warming up! Let's go! My powers! In how shall you see? Me? Lose to you? Grow! No more holding back!
The blow that Dashong inflicted sent Najjar flying. Down and down he went.
See ya. As Najjar fell, he could see Dashong return to his journey. As Dashong approached the heavens, he came across countless floating islands, and also many soldiers.
They drew their bows, aimed their arrows, and released them all at once, and watched them rain down on Dashong.
Dashong reacted nimbly. He raced towards the falling arrows. He extended his staff, and with one almighty swing,
blew away not only all of the soldiers, but also their massive volley of arrows.
once again, Dashong continued upward. Suddenly, the ground shook below him, and a giant wall sprang up before Dashong.
You shall go no further!
The wall was actually Juling Shen, who'd come out of nowhere. With his huge body, the Leviathan prevented Dashong from going on. Juling Shen was the very best of General Li's deputies. He was also the god of the Yellow River, the cradle of a great civilization. The mighty axes that he wielded were his pride and joy. With a single blow from one of them, Juling Shen could split a mountain right down the middle. It is said that he used these weapons to cleave the mountains so that a river could run a straighter course.
Dashong relaxed his stance and uttered one simple word. Move.
Juling Shen stood firm, his arms crossed.
I shall neither retreat, nor shall I allow you to pass. The gardens of the heavens lie beyond. A criminal like you would sully them with your very presence.
In response to the giant's booming voice, Dashong thrust his little fingers into his ears. Then he turned away and simply wiggled his fingers.
You made me drop one of my axes, and that's not good.
Okay.
However, it only takes a single axe.
Great.
I shall crush you with my almighty power!
Excellent.
It is I that shall strike you down!
For sure. Dashong took his fingers out of his ears and sighed deeply. Right, are you done?
Juling Shen, furious, came back at Dashong with a bellowing roar.
Dashong stretched before staring up at Juling Shen. I guess we should fight then.
I shall defeat you!
Can't catch me! Damn! Bingo!
My axe grows rusty.
Let's go!
Do you like stay still?
Over here! Where the hell do you think you were looking? Watch this!
Ha! Is that really all you can do? I shall crush you! Do you like my action?
See! Crumble! I'll try a bit harder than that.
I'll cleave you in half. Not bad.
Then how shall you see? Too slow. Let's go. Cutscene.
I shall end you, even if it ends me.
On yet. Bingo. Too slow.
Some little cretin.
Let's go.
I'll cleave you in half.
Gotcha. Bingo. Let's go. I'll try a bit harder than that.
One heaving blow sent Juling Shen tumbling.
You shall go no further!
Despite his defeat, the giant still roared.
Dashong took a last look down at him. See ya! And with that, he continued, onwards and upwards. As Dashong ascended higher and higher, the sky took on a more golden hue. The border with the heavens was getting closer. Realizing he was nearing his destination, he gripped his staff a little harder. Suddenly, a figure appeared before him. Well, if it's not the guest of honor. Dashong broke into a broad smile.
It was Long Shen. He was the nephew of the Jade Emperor, the ruler of the Eastern Paradise, no less. The renowned warrior was half human and half god. He excelled at both martial arts and magic, was uniquely skilled with his beloved sword, and a wizard at performing the 72 transformations. He defeated the great beasts, including a dragon. Guan Yin himself recognized his powers and recommended that he be used in the fight to repel the imposter Dashong. Ultimately, it was Long Shen himself who captured the mighty Dashong.
He came to a halt and stared at Lang Shen with his glowing red eyes. Finally, a little fun
Arlong Shen defiantly stared back at his adversary.
Did your brain get fried in those fires? Do you not remember who it was that captured you?
Yeah, a lucky idiot. Then Dashong gave a shrug. If it wasn't for all your mates helping you back then, I would have beaten you for sure.
Arlong Shen remained utterly unperturbed.
Irrelevant. I serve justice.
Dashong faced Arlong Shen and raised his staff. So, basically, you want to fight me, right?
Arlong Shen drew his bow, aiming the tip of an arrow right between Dashong's eyes.
I shall never surrender to lowlifes like you.
The
two stood firm, staring each other out. In the blink of an eye, the silence shuddered and the storm began to rage.
Know the name, Arlong Shen.
Okay, now it's my turn.
Enough.
Bingo! See! Now! Let's go! Bound to get a few bruises. Gotcha!
They fought hard and on equal terms. Then Dashong drew back. He had a new idea. He formed a seal and yelled, "Transform!" And with that, he turned into a sparrow and flew off into the skies.
Arlong Shen was bewildered. Where could Dashong have gone?
This was Dashong's big chance to outwit his opponent, and so he accelerated.
But Arlong Shen was not to be fooled so easily. He turned into a hawk, flew after Dashong, and grabbed him by his talons.
Ha! You were too naive, Dashong.
Dashong was trapped. He couldn't move, but he didn't bat an eyelid. I'd think twice about calling me naive. Transform! And with that, Dashong transformed into a whale.
Arlong Shen was certainly strong, but not that strong. He lost his grip on Dashong and was flung across the sky.
Dashong returned to his original form, as if a lightweight like you could outdo me. He charged straight at Arlong Shen. But then, with an earth-shattering roar, a great crowd massed towards Dashong.
Go, Hound of Heaven!
Arlong Shen fired an arrow with great force. The arrow transformed into a divine beast and attacked Dashong.
Dashong didn't have time to get out of the way, and so had no choice but to take this massive hit.
While Dashong winced, Arlong Shen repositioned himself, then thrust his sword at his wounded opponent.
Now we are even. It is time to settle this!
Dashong repositioned himself too, then cracked his neck. I remember this puppy now. He readied his staff.
Let's do this.
On guard!
Not bad.
This is where you lose, Three Eyes!
Naive.
See! Now! Say!
Have it your way. I shall take you seriously. You are naive.
Just my luck. Not on yet! Let's go! More than one way to catch it! Bro, Luigi, go back!
An even match, as I expected. Get ready!
Not bad, Three Eyes.
Let's go!
Not bad, Three Eyes.
Then how shall you see? Bingo! Bark, no bite. Very well. I shall raise my... Now, it really begins. I shall get you. Storm of arrows. Here I come.
Bro, Luigi, go back! Slap!
For justice.
Too slow!
See! I shall defend. Let's go! Say! Have it your way. I shall take you seriously. Enough.
It was finally over.
Arlong Shen fell to his feet, his expression etched with defeat and shock. It was a moment too late. How is it that such power can corrupt a man so completely?
Dashong was already too far away to hear his words. Ha ha! I reckon that's gonna hurt in the morning. He wiped the sweat from his brow. See ya! Dashong returned his gaze to the heavens and began to ascend once more. At a certain point in his ascent, the 18 magical treasures entered his vision. The source of the Heaven's Net, designed to stop Dashong in his tracks. Soldiers formed a cast-iron defense around the treasures.
Regardless of their numbers, their faces betrayed a sense of fear and dread. The monstrous monkey was getting closer and closer.
A monkey who had even got the better of our Long Shen.
Dachshund grinned wickedly. He knew nothing of fear.
Ding Hai Chuan Yu Shi!
His muscular body burst into flames, and he charged wildly.
The flames engulfed the soldiers and treasures, and they were blown into the skies. The nets of heaven were smashed apart.
Dachshund arrived at the southern gate, to Eastern Paradise. But the place was all quiet and deserted. Dachshund was slightly wary, but that wasn't about to stop him. Finally, he reached his destination, Eastern Paradise's castle, the Palace of Spirits. Placing both hands on the front door, he slowly but surely pushed it open. Inside the palace, he found only darkness. He frowned and took a step forward. Immediately, he fell. It seemed there was no floor beneath his feet. The splendid palace interiors, the ornate columns, even the door, all faded to nothing. Darkness consumed him in body and mind. Dachshund yelled out, "Jindu Cloud!" His cloud appeared and stopped his fall. It was a big relief. Suddenly, there was a voice coming from behind him.
There you are, Dachshund.
He turned around to see a huge figure shining with a golden light. "What? Who's that?" This serene figure responded with an innate gentleness.
It is I, the Buddha, who resides to the west of these lands. I hurried here upon receiving a request from the Jade Emperor in the Eastern Paradise. It seems you have been a nuisance to our neighbors in the East. Why would that be?
The Buddha created a calm, relaxed atmosphere. It had a strong effect on Dachshund, and he almost gave into it. But somehow he remained firm. "I came to say thanks to the ones who threw me into the flames of the Crucible."
Indeed, you have been through a great ordeal. What are you going to do once you have said your thanks?
For a moment, Dachshund paused and considered the question carefully. "I shall rule the heavens." There was a gentle smile on the Buddha's face.
May I suggest we take a wager? If you believe that you can truly be the ruler of the heavens, both east and west, you should be able to escape the palm of my hand.
Then the Buddha stretched out his right hand towards Dachshund. Huh?
Should you win this wager, you shall have that which you desire.
Dachshund glanced at the hand of the Buddha with doubt creeping into his mind. However, he cast those doubts aside and smiled. "See ya!" And with that, Dachshund mounted his Jindu Cloud and rode it high up into the sky.